Ah, the ride began. Do you remember the Duster? Well, how can you not? It came in year 2012, saw and conquered, sold 100,000 of those cars and conquered like Napoleon Bonaparte. That was once upon a time in the past, and that once is not now. So Renault has come up 5 years later with a new SUV, ladies and gentlemen. And all you need to know is that it's a much more premium offering than the Duster. It's based on the same platform and shares the same drivetrains. So let's stop beating around the bush. Say cheese or fromage, ladies and gentlemen. Rendezvous with us as we have a tête-à-tête with the Renault Captur. Now the wheelbase of the Renault Captur here is exactly similar to that of the Duster. However, the European styling here would mean that the car is 14mm longer, 9mm narrower and 76mm shorter when compared to the Duster with roof rails. Now to describe the looks here, we're gonna have to, well, maybe just read the brochure out. The car stylishly wears upmarket appointments like chrome embellishers all around, full LED headlamps, dynamic turn signals, 17-inch diamond-cut alloy wheels, C-shaped LED fog lamps. Now that's all the things that you will like with the Renault Captur. What you perhaps won't like is the fact that the car doesn't come in classic SUV proportions like the Jeep Compass or even the Renault Duster. Now if you think that's something that Renault's gotten wrong with the car, that's not the case, as they have intended this car to not look rugged but rather look like a jolie madame. Now design and styling is what the Renault Captur really wants to offer to you. So look how inviting the cabin interiors are. What's also good is that the cabin is immensely spacious. There are lots of cubby holes, huge cubby holes, and then door pockets too. What's probably a bummer is that the dash here is not soft touch, and what definitely is a bummer is that the 7-inch media nav touchscreen display is straight from the Kwid, and the control hub for climate control is from the Duster. One would have wanted newer things here, but c'est la vie. Okay. The Renault Captur is a car, so it drives. So let's talk about the good and the bad when it comes to driving. Now, if you have driven the 4x4 Renault Duster, then you would remember that the ride quality there was very firm. That's exactly the case in this car too. So the handling is great because of the firm damping. And there is body roll, but then grip is never an issue in a corner. So you can actually go pretty fast in this car in corners, but that's not how you should drive this car. The drive components in this car are pretty much the same as seen on the Duster. So the engine's the same, the transmission is the same. In fact, even the suspension and the brakes are the same. Now, since we spoke of the engine, you should instantly think of the K9K engine, one of the most widely used diesel engines in the world. It has quite a punchy performance to deliver. However, the acceleration in this is slightly more linear than seen in the Duster is what I think right now. Now the transmission feels absolutely fantastic. The throws are very short and just the shifting action itself is very smooth. The shift lever is in a very ergonomic position and there is little to no drivetrain lash, which is to say when you're working through the gears, there are no jerks. So overall, it's a very comfortable, supple ride, and what you'll also like is the sure-footedness, predictable handling of the car. What you will like is the ground clearance. Class-leading 210mm of ground clearance on roads like this right now comes in really handy. Every single time we are in Goa, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we are in Goa. That's where the Renault Captur first drives are happening. But every single time we come to Goa, we come to this patch of the road and we greet one Mr. Bumpty the Bump. Or was it Humpty the Bump? Whatever it is, this is one of the biggest bumps I've seen in my life. If it's not a mountain, it's definitely a hill. And what we're going to try and do is put the Renault Captur over this bump to find out how good the ground clearance is. So we are now going to talk about what's bad when it comes to driving, and as you could have possibly guessed already, it's the turbo lag. This engine is famous for that. Anything below 2200 RPM, the car is going to struggle to move. But that's just something that you're going to have to get used to. Keep the needle in the right rev range and you should be absolutely fine. Now the brakes are not very impressive. Of course, they get the stopping done and they have a lot of stopping power too, but you really have to work the brake pedal. The driver's seat here, as you see, I'm in the lowest seating position. I'm a 6 foot tall man and I feel the driver's seat is just unnecessarily high. Of course, if you're the kind of guy who digs sitting high up on the road, then you're going to have a very commanding position. The great thing is that the A-pillar, well, it doesn't obstruct any vision at all, but then the seat itself is unnecessarily high, and I say that because if I get the sun visor down, I don't see any road at all. The clutch is a tad bit too heavy. There are no 4x4 variants. You also don't get an automatic variant right now in the Renault Captur. That's a bummer. Lastly, the noise insulation can be said to be just satisfactory. Now that's all the good and the bad from the top of my head when it comes to the Renault Captur. But how scintillating, alluring and capturing is the Renault Captur? In short, where does it stand? Well, it stands and stands tall amongst its competition like the fabulous Creta, the Jeep Compass, and don't forget there's a new S-Cross coming. As of today, the car makes a strong case for itself. But will it meet with extraordinary success and beat its competition? Well, why do you fear? Because we are here, we're going to let you know on that, and we're going to let you know how it fares against the competition and about the price. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button and tell a cool new friend of yours about the cool new car that we have going on out here. Do it, trust me, everyone's doing it.